Hello, and welcome back to another video of Real Talk with Dr. Jim Sharps. It's a great pleasure to have you back with us, Dr. Jim, really just sharing your decades of expertise in original medicine and natural health and healing, and really just trying to demystify and simplify alternative medicine. For those of you that know the channel, we really do want to just simplify. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation in terms of alternative approaches to healthcare and medicine, and we really want to address that with this channel and with specifically this series with Real Talk and Dr. Jim. So we'll move forward this week. If you've been following our video series, you know that we have been covering RBTI recently. Our last video that we recorded kind of closed that series for now, but as always, do let us know in the comments of our videos what topics you want to hear about. Dr. Jim has a very broad breadth and depth of knowledge, so there's not too many topics that we can't cover in these videos. But we wanted to switch it up a little bit in this video today and look more broadly and more generally about, hey, Dr. Jim, we've kind of gone granular with the RBTI, but can we kind of go a bit more global with the 8 laws of health and just some very practical tips, insights that come out of the 8 laws that people might, think, oh, that's something I can apply in my life and see some benefits. So we wanted to just very briefly go over that today in the video, change up the pace a little bit. So I hope you kind of enjoy listening to our conversation today. So Dr. Jim, just to kick us off, we'll kind of do this in a very conversational style. The 8 laws is something that we've covered on this channel before. In your years of experience running a practice, building the school at IIOM, what's kind of the low-hanging fruit, or what's the kind of the simplest thing somebody watching this video today, and if you were to say to them, if you do this one thing, this is the low-hanging fruit, but it can have a really positive benefit, what would that one piece of bit of information that you would give them? And maybe you could just we'll follow on from there, but what would it be that you would say to them?
Okay, that's it's really a good thought-provoking question. I guess the first thing that I would recommend is proper hydration. It's kind of easy. Everybody needs to drink water, and just drinking water on a systemic basis will help so many people. What I mean by systemic basis is not chug-a-lugging all of it at one time, but taking based on what your personal considerations, your age, your weight, your height, your lifestyle, your activities, understanding what that amount of water is. It's anywhere between, let's say, 6 to 10 glasses a day, but not drinking it all at once, spreading that over a 10 to 12 hour period, dividing that amount, and having like 4 to 6 ounces every hour for 10 to 12 hours. That can be fairly easy to implement, and it would just provide so many dividends in terms of improving overall health and vitality. And as you noted, water is one of those very important laws of health.
Yeah, and in terms of you mentioned it's something as simple as drinking water. You kind of have, to use one of your phrases, opened the kimono a little bit wider on that one by saying, hey, it's not chug-a-lugging. And I think that behavioral piece of how do you drink water, it's not as simple as I've had my 6 to 10 glasses and I just downed it all at the end of the day. It's actually a more intentional approach. But what can that intentional, consistent, non-chug-a-lugging approach of water, what benefits could one expect to see from that, just by following that very simple protocol?
Yeah, another really good question. See, the liver requires, in order to function, it needs calcium, oxygen, and water. Without those 3 things, the liver can't function. The liver is responsible for detox, for building your enzymes, for helping you to digest your foods. The liver is the second most important organ after the brain. So water is one of those easy things, understanding that the physiology of the liver is working 24 hours a day. It's not working just in the morning, just in the afternoon. So giving what it needs, and the liver needs, without going through all the details of anatomy and physiology, it requires about 4 ounces. It uses about 4 ounces every half an hour to do its function. So by supplying it on a regular basis during your waking hours, you're working in harmony with the cycles of how a very important organ works. So you don't need to know all that detail. All you need to know is about systematic drinking of water, but that's the underlying biophysiological principle that's behind that. And that's why, I have some of my clients say, oh yeah, I get up in the first thing in the morning and I have anywhere from 2 to 4 glasses of warm water. Yes. I said, you probably spend a lot of time in the restroom. Yes. How'd you know, doc? Well, your body can't handle all that much. So the body has to push out that excess, and it tries to store and use what it can to the best of its ability. So that kind of helps give maybe a little bit more background, but the basic principle is drinking the water. But drinking it it's not what you do, but it's what's done based on individual requirements and capacities, and what's done right. So that's basically a something that's pretty easy to understand, and for most people, pretty easy to implement. Unless you don't have access to water for long periods of time. But generally speaking, that's the principle, and then you work it in based on the personal circumstances that you're experiencing.
Yeah. No, that's clear, Dr. Jim, and I think thanks for clarifying that. And I think it's really interesting if I look at it from a behavioral point of view. And you've said this many times before, so I'm just reheating phrases that you've regularly used, in conversations we've had. You're doing the right things wrongly. In other words, you're in the right zip code, but you're at the wrong property. And I think that's how I would take what you said around water. And just if you're watching this video, that's the way original medicine works is a lot of it is at a principle level. So taking that principle of doing the right thing wrongly, drinking water in the wrong way, if you apply that thought in other areas of your lifestyle and nutrition choices, I think it's shining a light where you might start to see some areas to yourself without even watching these videos where you can apply the principle and receive a health benefit or enhancement to your lifestyle and nutrition. So Dr. Jim, maybe we can just cover one more today in terms of maybe it's not the first level of the water, but it's just a little high. You got to get in your tippy toes to get that low hanging fruit. What would be kind of the second thing, again, based on your years of experience of common things, right things maybe done wrongly, that if adjusted and rectified, it can improve health?
Well, let's go to another thing that we normally do on a regular basis every day, basically, and that's eating. Just from a dietary standpoint, adding a little bit more plant-based foods to your diet. We are so oriented and misinformed about our protein requirements that a lot of people really think that you need more protein in your diet, meaning more meat and dairy and a lot of these heavier protein foods. And that is wildly misinforming. We need more plant-based diet. So eating more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and grains, based again on your individual requirements and capacities. Because some people, even vegetarians, are very sick because they're doing the right thing wrongly. So, but at least you're getting on the right track by adding more plant-based foods in your diet. And if you want to eat meat or dairy, and you can handle it without getting sick or anything like that because your digestion system is strong enough, etc., that's fine. But more people would do better by eating meat and dairy more on a rotational basis, if you will, maybe once every 3 or 4 days. So, not having your eggs and fake bacon or real bacon or whatever it is every day, but maybe not more than once or twice a week, and making sure that you're getting those really high integrity foods that's designed for systemic integrity, and that's fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and grains, which has the nutrients that are designed for the highest systemic performance for human beings, and incidentally for most animals as well.
It's interesting you say that, because I think there's a lot of vegans or vegetarians that say, cut it out. The kind of the pushback or the counter or the response there is that, hey, I don't want to. I enjoy my chicken or my beef or my ribs or my steak, whatever that may be. So, are you saying, Dr. Jim, look, that kind of good, better, best approach to things, the best from an original medicine standpoint is obviously a plant-based diet. But are you saying then that, hey, look, if you're at a different part of the journey, having, just meat every 3 or 4 days, you can actually start to see a benefit from that? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Seth. And then the way I would explain it is, if you put a target on a wall, the bullseye would be the plant-based diet, but you have all these concentric circles, and out on those circles, you can add meat, dairy, again based on your individual requirements and capacities. But there are some things that shouldn't even that aren't even on the wall that target is pinned on, and so they're unclean meats. It should be nowhere in the diet, but clean meats on a rotational basis once in a while is not a problem. At least it's somewhere on the target. And if you're particularly robust and you have and your digestion can handle it, a little meat and dairy aren't going to kill you. On the other hand, you can be focusing on the bullseye, and if your digestion system isn't strong enough, you can be eating too many nuts and seeds, which I see a lot of people doing, thinking that they need all this protein. They call themselves vegetarian, and they're sicker than their meat and dairy counterparts because the nuts and seeds are too strong for them, or they're eating too much. So that there's that rule of temperance as well. You're doing avoiding those things that are harmful and doing those things that are good for you, in what you call in a right way, and doing them rightly instead of wrongly. Not too much, not too little. So that kind of puts into the context of always honoring the individual, and looking at what the individual person's circumstances are, requirements and capacities. And I see too many professionals, well-meaning, coming out with these one-size-fits-all. And even in a lot of well-meaning wellness centers, everybody can't fast or shouldn't be put on a fast, or even put 100% on a vegetarian diet all of a sudden. Sometimes you go to these centers and they cold turkey you off of coffee and this, that, and the other thing, and the person is more miserable when they left than when they came in. So it's a lot about common sense and a rational approach to working with people as individuals, not as some research animal or somebody treating everybody like they're all in a research project. People have lives, and you need to honor people's individual dignity, their individual circumstances, etc. So that's something that even I had to learn, that, and as you said, I have a lot of experience, both with myself over 20 years personally. So I understand a lot of the issues that people are dealing with because I was blessed with poor health. And then actually, this year marks my 30th year. In 1992 is when I left IBM and I went on this quest to change careers. So now in 2022, now 30 years later, over 50 years altogether, you can see the gray hairs are showing. You learn some things. And so you learn to really love and respect people where they are, work with where they are, and take them where they want to be. Not necessarily where you want them to be, but where they want to go in a very thoughtful and rational way. So it's honoring people's individual dignity, as I said, and then doing these things, you're right, doing even right things rightly instead of doing right things wrongly.
Yeah. Dr. Jim, it's been a pleasure. It's great, and I always thank you for just unwrapping these concepts for us in such a humorous and engaging way. So we've, as I said, we've finished the RBTI series. We wanted to kind of mix it up a little this week. We have some kind of content plans for videos that are coming up that are on very varied topics. So jumping around a little more. But we do want to be led by you, our kind of viewers in our channel. So please do leave a comment on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're liking the video and hit the bell button when you do subscribe, so you're notified when we do release a new video. But we'll keep it fresh. We'll keep it moving every week. We'll try and keep it very engaging. But Dr. Jim, once again, thank you so much for sharing with us. And we'll see you next time for looking at the real talk with Dr. Jim and looking at these natural health topics from the perspective of original medicine. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Blessings to all.